You're listening to Get the Chip.
What's up, everybody? Here we go. This is something we've been waiting for a long time to start the show. This show is going to be called Get the Chip, which is all about winning, right? Getting the championship. What every team, no matter what league they're in, no matter what sport they play in, that should be their goal, is to get the chip and get the championship. So that's what this show is going to be about. Today, this is the pilot episode. I got my boy, MJ. And we're going to be getting to everybody weekly on a weekly basis, dropping all types of content about the NBA, maybe some of the NFL, and anything that's popping off in sports. So today, man, the NBA is the thing that got everybody hyped up. Everybody's ready for the year, the new season. After that bubble went down. And me, I'm a little salty about how everything went down in the bubble because I personally believe that LeBron and AD got the easy way to a championship. They didn't have to play anybody. Jimmy was balling, but Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, man, they were just babies. They weren't ready, and LeBron's getting all this praise for it.
We're going to talk more about that in detail, bro.
What's your thoughts on it right now? You don't think that was an easy chip?
I don't think so. I think the way it all played out, for example, as much as I was not a believer at the beginning of the season that the Clippers would be automatic Western Conference finalists, it was obvious that they were somewhat checked out. Paul George hitting the side of the backboard, like all of those things just tells me like that environment, you had to have a certain kind of, you got to be built a certain kind of way to just play through that and play at your best. And you know, there are people at the end of the day. So I think it was just a tough, it was hard in a unique way. It wasn't like previous championships where there was obstacles you got to overcome, but this one was definitely not. It was not easy, man. You just gotta, I don't know. I can't say that it's worth less than other championships from other teams. It was just different.
I think you brought up a very crucial talking point that I wasn't even planned at all, but we got to jump into it. You brought up the boy Pandemic P. This dude was playing trash, man. And I'm a Paul George guy. Like, I think PG is tight, but he was playing trash. I don't know if it was the talking with Dame that got him off or what, but I don't know what happened to him. He was playing garbage, man. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay. So if we're gonna do it, let's do it. I'm fine to talk about with PG. We can hop into it.
What are your thoughts? I just kind of gave mine.
I'm gonna go back to this. See, most people. That's why I'm looking forward to doing this because a lot of people don't realize this. So it just so happens I was at your house when we were watching the USA team practice. Remember?
I remember that 100%. We were with my pops.
Correct. PG went up for the I don't remember if it was a layup or dunk, but you know he was just a casual.
No, it was a block. It was a block.
Really?
He was chased down blocking somebody. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I just remember the play, and I just remember seeing his foot ankle sideways, and it just looked like it didn't register. But before that, remember PG was on the ascension. Remember he was trying to challenge LeBron in the East, right?
He was going head to head with Bron. When Bron was on Miami, he was on Indiana, bro. I'll never forget it. They were going head to head, and then LeBron had to dap him up at halftime because he was balling. Like I said, I'm a PG guy. I like PG.
Right. So I'm taking it way back there. So PG was already just next level, just talent wise, and you know I'm a Kobe guy, so I was like, okay, this dude might. And you know, at the time, I definitely didn't care for the way LeBron played. Anyway, so PG was already at a certain height, has a catastrophic injury, has to crawl all the way back to where he's at the point where right before the trade to fast forward some years to or getting over to OKC to fight back, regardless of the skill, just the mental aspect of it, to fight back from being that good of a player, have a catastrophic injury that's just unhuman, and then gets back to that level. That just takes a certain kind of mental toughness, but also I think it's draining. So he goes from being super good to where he's got to sit down for however long the recovery time was. He's still playing pretty good. Then he gets over to OKC. That didn't really work out. And now I just feel like it was just fatigue, man. Just mentally, just all all of the obstacles he's had to deal with and overcome over the last 5 years or so. That injury, the trade, not really working out with Russ and Melo, then getting to LA, the Clippers, where in the opinion of everybody, they were supposed to be the favorites. It was going to be a cakewalk, and I just wasn't. I just think that's why he was just. I just feel like he was. That's just hard, man. That's just hard for anyone to do. So I just think that he could be playoff P, but I just think that's just a lot, man. That dude's been through a lot. If you really look at where he was at, challenging LeBron, and then had to essentially start from nothing, and then
have to build that up all the way from the bottom. Yeah, I can see that. That's a great point. And yeah, he did bounce back, like you said, to have a catastrophic injury like that, where you almost got to learn how to re-walk on that leg and then come back and then be competing at the highest level. Yeah, that says something about his character, right? To be able to do that, 100%.
And then to trust it. So like to get over all of that, and then he's at PG. Remember how how excited I was. Russ is my second favorite player after Kobe. How excited me and everyone were thinking how it was going to work out with him and Russ, and it didn't. So then he goes to the Clippers, and it was supposed to work out, and then it didn't. And on top of that, they're in the bubble. And then, of course, all of us are people. We have personal lives and families and kids and stuff. That's just a lot, man. So I just think that he was checked out, man. Maybe I remember he said it. I think he did an interview while he was in the bubble, right? He went through like a depression. He was hearing what people were saying. So
I do remember that. He did.
So I guess to answer your question, like my take on it, I just think that that's just a lot of obstacles, man, for anyone to overcome, no matter how talented you are. And I think the lesson learned for me and really anybody is just, if you really are a playoff P or whatever, just show it. Don't even say nothing, because if you say something, the internet goons are coming for you.
100%, man. We always say that to each other, that the internet is undefeated.
Oh my gosh, man.
The trolls are coming for you from everywhere. And the funniest thing is that it be kids, man. They be like 5 years old. They be on the gram just going at people. It's funny. I feel like what you just said, though, kind of segues us into a very crucial point right here. So let's talk a little bit about our personal opinion, the best players in the league right now. Let me have your top 5 current players in the NBA.
Any position?
Yeah, just the top 5, any position. Your top 5 guys in the league right now.
All right, I got to ask one more question. Are we going based off of how somebody allegedly played, 2 seasons ago? Because we got Steph was hurt, Clay was hurt, KD was hurt. Are we including people like how they played just the last time they played, or are we basing it purely off of this last season?
We're talking about how your view of that person. So it could be the last time that they touched the floor, where you rank them at. All
right, so LeBron is number 1 for me without question. And me, we've been talking about hoops since it's 2020 for years, decades, at least 2 decades, right?
Yeah, so, at least.
I came around on LeBron, I think, about 3 years ago. So LeBron's number 1, but I just wish LeBron would use his size, strength, mentality, knowledge of the game to just to like, imagine if you put, I hate to do this, but Kobe or Jordan's mind and LeBron's body, like what he would do in just a season is crazy. Like I think LeBron could average 40, 10, and 8 if he wanted, in a season or 2. But anyway, so LeBron's number 1. KD, you just can't do that with KD at all. Like he has to be up there. That's 2. Russ is in the top 5 for me. I just think that at his size, compared to where.
So wait a second, I'm gonna have to stop you. You put Russ at number 3 or top 5?
This is just top 5. I ain't putting them in order. You didn't say order. You want to put order?
Come on, bro. You gotta put them in order.
LeBron's number 1. KD's number 2. Let me put some names out. So I got Russ. I got James Harden. I got Steph. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. That's 5 right there. Any big man, any forwards? To me, like Giannis is not top 5 to me. He's a unique thing, but you can't he's stoppable in the playoffs. Proves that. So I'm gonna go
100%. I agree with you on that. Giannis is not in my top 5.
All right, top 5. Here you go. So you got LeBron, you got KD, you have James Harden, you have, and then my last 2 are Steph and Russ. I have to give a nod to Russ, man. I think Russ, he's showing me that he can play. Russ was killing when he was with KD. He had turnovers. In the opinion of some people, yes, he couldn't defer to KD. yes, he had ultimate confidence when he had KD on his team, but then that changed. Then he carried the team by himself to the playoffs. Then he got PG and deferred to PG and still averaged triple double. What was it, 2 seasons maybe? Then he comes to Houston and does it again in a whole different system where, you know what I mean? So to me, that's he's dynamic enough to still do what he has to do and play hard. To me, so that's why I'm giving Russ the nod over Steph, because to me, I've only seen Steph. Once Steph reached his ascension, not just the jumper, but like having a system that was kind of played to his strengths, essentially, I've never seen him be different. And then even though last year he played a little bit by himself, he got hurt and it just wasn't the same. So I haven't seen. And Steph is essentially, since Steph has become a superstar, he has basically always had top 3 best team in the NBA. So yeah, Bron, KD, James Harden, just for obvious reasons from James, Russ, and then Steph. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, and I'm gonna be upset, but those are my top 5. Who you got?
All right, so here I go right here. So I'm going LeBron at number 1 also. I think LeBron he's just too dominant, man. Even though I like to go at him, he's not my favorite guy, but I am going to give him the number 1 spot. At number 2, I got KD right on his heels. So I'm a KD guy. And what's funny about this is that I was not a KD guy until he came to Golden State. I'm a Steph guy. I love Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry he just changed the game, the deep ball, the way he be dancing on people with the handle. It was crazy, man. His MVP seasons were just unbelievable. But when KD came to Golden State, it's just certain things that limit Steph, right? Like he's not that big, and he's playing a game where size really matters. And when I was watching KD night in and night out, just getting buckets on people, just getting to his spot and just pulling up the step back, it's nothing anybody could do. Then he start crossing people. Then he go into the rack and boxing. And then on top of that, then he start dropping dimes. Then he start playing D. And I was just like, man, this dude he is legit. So I got Bron at number 1. I got KD right on his heels, like kind of like a 1A, 1B. I'm putting James Harden at number 3, but this is a tough decision. But James, man, he be whooping, and he can. It's crazy, like the shots and stuff that he takes and makes is just unbelievable. So I got James at 3. At number 4, I'm putting in Kawhi, just because Kawhi be getting buckets and he be locking people down. Like the just how great he is on the defensive end. I'm putting him at number 4. Now, my number 5 spot, like I said, I'm a Steph Curry guy. Like, I really like Steph, but I'm going to move Steph down to number 6. Steph is not in my top 5. Now, my top 5 spot is very, very, very controversial, but I'm giving my 5th spot to Luka Doncic.
All right, man. We got to talk more about that one.
If you watch this dude, man, the way that he is treating people is unbelievable. Luka got the handle. He got the shot. He's big. He's physical. Like in the bubble, man, he was literally going at Kawhi one-on-one, taking Kawhi to the basket.
And screaming at him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then he got people like Montrezl Harrell trying to punk him, and he not backing down. I was like, this dude is legit. So Luka is at my 5th spot, and right behind him, I got Steph. But this was not a top 6; it was a top 5. So Luka rounds it off for me.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. Luke. Yeah, there's a few. You know, there's a few players that I feel like very early on, first 2-3 years of their career, I was like, okay, this dude's gonna be nice. To me, Luka's better than all of them. I don't know anyone that's had a better second year. Like than anybody that like we have always talked about, like we knew
it's unbelievable. Game winners, just the fearlessness.
Yeah,
man.
Should we take a minute to talk about Luka and why he's a special for people that don't understand how special of a player he is from a basketball perspective? Like,
let's do it. Take it away, bro.
I'm not trying to derail the conversation, but I think people don't realize what like some people I think hate on Luka just because. What does the media do? The media will look at his numbers compared to like, oh, last time this was done, LeBron did it, or Larry Bird, or Magic, or whatever. Historians and like people that watch the basketball for decades are naturally going to do that because it's like, oh, I haven't seen someone do this since that time. And when it was done the first time, it was so like polarizing. So you have to address that. And for people that haven't watched basketball that long or don't know what previous players have done, it makes it sound like you're hyping up somebody when they don't deserve it. But Luka, to me, deserves every bit of it. And what's crazy is that Luka, two things: the way he obviously he's played professional ball, I guess, like overseas and stuff, since he was a teenager. So he has that advantage. But I think the way that he, like the mechanics of how he uses his body, even if you look at the way he shoots a jumper, is so efficient. Like anytime he's gonna, for example, he's about to take a jumper, no matter the shot, if it's a three, if it's a super deep ball, if it's mid range, he always it's kind of it reminds me of kind of like a spring, like how if you have a spring, right, and it's fully extended, you squeeze it and you let it go, it's going to spring out or do whatever, right? But if you squeeze it down and you have it and you leave it there for a second or as long as you want and then you let it go, the explosion is bigger. If you look at the way Luka shoots the ball, he's always loaded and ready to pull up a shot way before anyone even realizes it. Even just the way he dribbles. So just his footwork, just a lot of different little mechanical things that like an early 20-year-old player has. I've never seen someone at that age have. So that dude is next level there. Second point is his size. Like people don't realize Luka's what? Ain't he like 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", something like that?
Dude, he's like 6'7" or 6'8". He's big.
When I saw this dude next to LeBron, he's not obviously chiseled, muscular like that, but he's a big dude. So not only is this dude moving around the court, he's not scared of nobody, obviously, or intimidated on the court. He's got, in my opinion, the mechanics that you might not see in a player until year 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's got it in his early 20s. He's only been in the league, I think, 2 years now. It's mind-boggling to me, and the fact that you know how it is. I mean, we're not obviously not NBA players, but anyone we know, whether it's a rookie coming into the league or for someone we've just played with, just playing hoop, the longer you play, the smarter you get, right? Even if you lose certain aspects of your game, you just learn stuff. So this dude is only in his early 20s playing like this. Imagine what he's going to be like at 25 or 30. Like, it's insane to me. And I'm not even a Luka fan like that. I just have never seen in my years of watching basketball, which is about 20 or so years now, like NBA professional basketball, I've never seen someone at this dude's age do that at his size. And just it's exciting to see because I was thinking like when Kobe retired and when LeBron was kind of doing his thing and then the Warriors and stuff, I was like, man, who's going to be the next like really young, who looks like they might just be the next superstar, man? And I'm not trying to give him anything early, but to me, man, Luka, to me, there's no one 2 years in the league right now, 3, 4, 5 that is on his level. I can't think of one person, and it's insane. So. Anyway,
100%, I agree with you. So one of the things you said too, I think was super important, where you said for people who just started watching basketball, like a lot of people have just jumped on the NBA. Of course, the popularity is bigger than it's ever been before. But like you were saying, like we've been watching basketball forever. Back in like the 90s, like actually watching Michael Jordan games and watching people play. And like you were saying, Luka, a couple of things that stood out to me that you said, man, is footwork, the confidence, his jump shot. A lot of people will look at a jump shot and they're just like, oh, okay, this dude can shoot, this dude can't shoot. But like you said, Luka, his shot looks the same no matter how far away it is. Yeah. And it's not a lot of motion either. He kind of puts it up there and he just kind of shoots it. It's not like he's jumping and then extending and then firing away. It's not like a hitchy jump shot. It's like you said, it's kind of always cocked, always loaded, ready to shoot. Also, his footwork, his angles. Like you said, he's big. He's not super quick, but he will get by anybody. I was saying he's getting by Kawhi effortlessly. And scoring layups on him and looking at him, talking to him and stuff. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yep.
And like you said, dude, he's only been in the league 2 years. And look at these numbers from the last season. He's got 28.8 points per game. He's got 8.8 assists. He's shooting 46.3% from the field in general, 31.6 from three-point line, and free throws are at 75%. So I feel like maybe he could improve his free throw percentage. But Luka is a monster, straight up. There's no way around it,
dude. Yeah, no, I can't even say nothing different. This cat was born. Looking at it, this cat was born in 1999. Like I remember 1999 clearly. That's crazy. That is crazy, man. But yeah, I've never think about that. Like we remember 1999. Like
yeah,
that's
for real.
And he's out serving people. Yeah, the other part of it too, man. Like, can you just imagine, right? Even if he does it like not the super unhealthy way, even if he takes 3 years to get his body. I'm not saying that he's not athletic or whatever. He wouldn't be in the NBA obviously if he was an athlete. But imagine it, like there's different kind of body types, of course. But like if he were to just like get even more spring or athleticism to his game, like he's at 6'7", 230. Like we've seen a lot of players that are at 6'7", 215. And he, at 6'7", 230, professional basketball player, it's not like he's out of shape or overweight. But imagine if he dropped 10 pounds. Like, can you imagine what this dude is doing with what he already knows? Like,
drop 10 pounds, work on plyometrics, and
dude,
like first step explosion. It would be insane.
It'll be video game.
That's crazy. 100%. I agree.
Yeah. So what does the media always say that their upside? Like Luka, I don't think there's any way for us to know like how good he can be. And other thing I think is, which we realize, man, with a lot of different players from other countries, Europe, etc., coming to the NBA, like how much skill play is not as important as it used to be. Like, people can't make free throws. They don't have footwork. They don't have timing right. You know what I mean? They can't explode and then stop it. And you know what I mean? Like even Luka's timing on things, like, we've all seen the plays, right? He'll go to the hole full speed. He'll slow real quick, let the center of the defender go by and go for layup by himself. Just like we've seen Steph do that a lot. Steph does it really well. Like just all of those things that this dude has wrapped in his mind, where we're seeing a lot less of that with players coming into the league. Imagine what he's going to be doing to the league, man, in 2, 3, 4 years. Like it's
going to be ugly. It's gonna be ugly. Okay, I gotta put us back on track here.
Okay.
In this section right here, we gotta answer. What is your finals prediction for the 2020-21 season? Finals prediction. Who's coming out the East? Who's coming out the West?
All right. So, man, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Yeah, I'm gonna process that real quick.
So with everything that the Lakers are doing to stack the deck, LeBron, I don't know what him and Rob Pelinka have been doing or how LeBron convinced this dude, but I've never seen Rob Pelinka, man. He's going to work. It's like Kobe is on him, telling him, "Hey, man, give me some people." Hey, he's pulling off some good trades, man. Just a couple hours ago, we heard that they got Marc Gasol. And then, they lost Dwight. Dwight, not a big loss. They lost Rondo. I thought that was kind of going to hurt them. But what they do, they went and got Dennis Schroeder. They re-signed KCP. Of course, they're getting AD back. Man, I just think it's going to be tough for the Lakers to lose in the playoffs. So in the West, I'm calling the Lakers are going to be back in the finals. And then in the East, might be a little biased. And free agency is not over, but I'm going with the Brooklyn Nets. And that's all I could ask for. We get another KD LeBron finals, and we got Kyrie involved. And we got, hopefully, James Harden. This is a sensitive little subject right here. Everybody's debating it every day. But if we could get James and Kyrie to go to Brooklyn with Joe Harris, DeAndre Jordan, and whoever else they got on the bench, man. That's my finals prediction right here. Today is November 22nd. I'm going Lakers and Nets finals.
Oh, bro, man. All right. All of that makes sense, and I think it's the right. I think that's the right synopsis and analysis of what is going to happen next season. But I don't agree on both fronts, and I'm going to tell you why. All right, so you know me. I was a Kobe fan when he came in the league, so I'm not one of them people that came fans of Kobe when he was winning championships. I was a fan of Fro Kobe. I had a Fro cousin Kobe. You know this.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you're a Kobe guy.
I'm a Kobe guy, and then naturally, I think I kind of just followed the Lakers a little bit. Then when LeBron came on, I was like, okay, that's interesting. I'm going to watch it. So I want to see LeBron do well because at this point, I think he's a really great player, and I think the more he wins, the more successful he is, the more interesting conversations we'll have in the future about him, Jordan, et cetera, and the all-time greats. So I'm not saying this because I'm against the Lakers or I'm against LeBron. I actually think that I would like to see him win, but I do not think the Lakers are going to repeat next year.
Really? You don't think they're going to the finals, though?
I don't think they're going to the finals. And here's
Wow. Okay. You're going to have to answer who's going to knock them off then.
I'm more worried about their team. So remember, I've seen this experiment before as a Laker fan. When the Lakers brought in, and on paper it made all the sense in the world, and it's not the same because a lot of these guys are
I
younger.
know where you're going with this. You're going GP Karl Malone.
Exactly. It didn't work, bro. You remember how excited I was? Like we got Karl Malone, we got Gary Payton, and it just you can't it's something about, man, when people go out of the door and then you got new people coming in, like it's just not the same. And I know LeBron has proven, like you just give him the pieces that he needs around him, he'll take you to the promised land. Whether or not he wins is debatable, but he'll get to the finals. I'm just not confident that he can do that in this West coming up. Because look, they lost Avery Bradley, they lost Rondo. I don't know how Dwight Howard ended up leaving. And I'm not saying that these people are necessarily like big pieces of the team, but they have their roles at different parts of the season. JaVale McGee, I didn't even see what they got back in return. So just doing that, regardless of bringing in Marc Gasol, who I think is one of the most skilled 7-footers we've seen, like his brother Pau, this ex-Laker Pau Gasol. I think Montrez, he's just, I think he's just a monster. I'm not a fan, but I've just never seen a dude kind of like that.
Yeah, Montrez
in a long time.
Is a beast, man.
Yeah, and then they brought in the
Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, Schroeder's going to be big, but I've also seen Schroeder play, and it's not this. You can't. I don't want him to be a prisoner of the past, but I've just seen different sides of Schroeder. I've seen him come in and just destroy, but I've also seen him be okay taking a backseat to a strong personality. I saw it with Russ and Schroeder, and then obviously again just most recently. So I'm just not sure that Schroeder will play necessarily to his potential if you got a polarizing figure like LeBron. So I just have I think all those things, and LeBron is, we're dang near about the same age. I ain't LeBron. I never will be. Can't do what he is or anything like that. But even just looking at NBA players at these ages, like this is when you get just weird. No one touches you, injuries and things like that. And I just think they have to be very fortunate that if LeBron stays healthy or even plays at the level that he can. So just all of those variables makes me feel that it's just not going to be plug and play.
But I have to ask these questions about that though.
Okay.
Throughout the bubble playoffs, the Lakers guard play was super suspect. But then Rondo came up big towards the end, right? Like he elevated their guard play, helped them win.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have better guard play. You're going to have Schroeder coming in, and I feel like it's a role to fill there because their guard play early in the bubble wasn't very good. That was their Achilles heel, and that's why I actually thought that teams had a shot to get him out of there in the bubble. But I think that he's going to play a big role. KCP, man, he surprised me. I don't think KCP is that good, but he was arguably, him and Rondo were fighting for like the third best player in the bubble. He hit some big shots.
Yeah, KCP, we talk about he gets buckets, he serves. But I just don't feel that Schroeder, he seems, this is all speculation just from what we see, 0.1% of what we see of a team dynamic on TV. Schroeder seems so much like a team guy. I don't think that he's going to ever challenge LeBron. Not who LeBron is or his greatness, but there's times when, the point guard, when you have a superstar like LeBron, where you got to, like Rondo could do it. He was comfortable doing it. Like, no, I got you, LeBron. I'm going to bring it up. Schroeder's not going to do that with LeBron. So that's why I'm just not sure that will work there. So that's why I can't give it to the Lakers. Actually, so out of the crazy, I can't believe I'm even saying this, dude. Of all the years we've seen this team and the NBA, I honestly think Denver is going to make it to the finals this year.
Really? The Nuggets? I'm not going to lie, Jamal Murray was balling. Like he was, I know everybody's going to get mad at me for saying this, but I was having Kobe-esque feelings about Jamal Murray in the bubble. Like some of the buckets he was getting, like the gusto, the confidence he had to have to take and make some of those shots. It was crazy, man. He was balling, especially when him and Mitchell was going back to back. Oh my goodness. That was some of the best basketball that I have in recent memory. Of course, I have like recency bias, but dude, Jamal Murray was balling. It was unbelievable.
And towards the end, he was hobbled and on one leg. So, and everybody on the squad wasn't good and healthy and everything like that. So honestly, I got to give it to Denver, and largely it's because to me they have a complete game. They don't have any massive big names or superstars like that. But I'm gonna give it to Denver. And anytime we see a team that plays well together, the last team I saw do this, it's not the same. I'm not comparing them. The last time I saw a team have their core of players that didn't change, that didn't trade in or out, but they actually got better every year was the Warriors.
Yep.
The last time I saw a team do this. So That's just how, the way I view basketball and what I've been watching the last few years, man. I think it'll be Denver. So that's who my West pick is. The East pick, I'm gonna make it simple. Actually, I think for the same reason, it's gonna be the Bucks. I think the Bucks have by picking up what's his name, Holiday. What was it? They got Drew. Yeah, I think picking up Drew Holiday. I think picking up Drew Holiday. So far, it looks like their team hasn't changed a ton. What wasn't Wesley Matthews is on the Lakers now? Didn't he just come from? I think he just came from.
Wes Matthews is on the Lakers now.
Okay, so that's the only big name that I feel like they lost. Of course, they lost George Hill, which we talked about that before. We need to make a segment about that one. I just feel like I feel like the Bucks are probably going to do it. I don't think the Nets is going to work. Even if, whether you get James Harden or not, I just the talent is there. I just don't know how to work with a healthy KD and Kyrie on the same team. So yeah, I'm going Denver West, and I'm going Bucks.
So Denver and Bucks, and then I'm going Lakers Nets.
Yeah, that's my long-winded response.
I think what you just said kind of segues us perfectly into a discussion, and that's what's KD's ceiling next year. How good do you think he's going to be? Coming back from the dreaded Achilles injury.
Yeah. Well,
arguably the worst injury you could get in basketball.
Yeah. I think KD has a potential to be man, it's tough, man. Like, yeah, obviously it's not the same, different age, different points of their career, but to see like Kobe with the Achilles injury and kind of how it limited his game, even though it's KD way more efficient, it's just different. Achilles injuries change things for players. So can KD be at the same level as he was before? I think so. But I think the injury is going to play to the advantage of the defender because I think that the Achilles is going to slow him down some. Not that he was just super fast, but I just think that it's going to make him more – his game at his size, it was just so smooth. And I think that the Achilles is going to disrupt that because I don't think he's going to have the same level of KD will – he can do he can pull up real quick. He can do a side step quick. I think some of those things are going to slow down or not be what they were. Or even his heavy crossing and pull up. I think he's just going to lose some of that, man. And I think it's going to play to the advantage of defenders where he's going to move more like a 6'10", 6'11", 6'9" size player that might be guarding him. So I don't think KD's going to even be at the level that he was at when he was last playing, man. Even with the Warriors, OKC, I just think he's going to be more of he's going to just figure out a different kind of game. And I don't think that he's big enough to, if I'm right, I don't think he's big enough to just start going inside and things like that because he's not like obviously he's strong, man. The way he's big, like you were just saying earlier, like, or, we were talking earlier, like how he goes in, he dunks and all that stuff. Like he's not afraid to do it. I just don't know that his body can withstand that. And again, I'm also basing it off of, again, two different players. This person should even be mentioned in the same sentence as KD. No disrespect.
I know where you're going.
Like I said the other day, Rudy Gay, dude. Rudy Gay.
I knew you were going Rudy Gay.
He was bigger than Kobe, shorter than KD, but Rudy Gay was. I don't care what anyone says. Anyone that actually watched him play before his Achilles injury, there were not a lot of people in his position that could do anything with him. It was just a matter of whether or not I don't think Rudy Gay ever thought like, "Hey, man, I'm trying to be the best player in the NBA." I think if he wanted to. He could have been way better than he was. So,
Rudy was out there getting a check.
Exactly. He was in Memphis just killing it. He came to Sacramento. He was pretty much set. But after the Achilles, man, he just wasn't the same guy, dude. That's why he's fine going to the Spurs, coming off the bench and all that. Like, Achilles changes things, man. So I just don't think KD's going to even be where he was before. I hope I'm wrong. It's nothing against KD. I think KD is. I don't think you can compare. People compared him to George Gervin. I wasn't around to see how he played, but I've never seen a player like KD. So I hope I'm wrong, but I don't even think he's going to be as good as he was last time he played. That's my take.
All right, so here's how I feel about it. I think his ceiling next year, I think he's going to be, this is a bold statement. I'm jumping out the window a little bit, but this is just how much confidence I have in this guy. I think he's going to be in contention for the MVP.
Okay.
And here's why. So this dude is like a real hooper. He comes to the gym. My boy is wearing a sweatsuit. Like he not wearing no chains. He not wearing no rollie. None of that. He coming in a Nike Tech fleece with a little hat on and some earbuds in.
He had a cut in like 4 weeks.
Yeah, not tripping off a fade,
Right.
nothing. He not trying to be pretty for TV. Right. He's all about hooping. Like this dude, he just hoops. Right. So I think I'm not sure. Yeah, you've had an injury, and I've had an injury too, where you couldn't hoop for like an extended period of time. And we all have a routine. Like for me, it's every Sunday night and Thursdays, like in the early evening, like I'm gonna go hoop. Right. But when I had hurt my calf that time, I couldn't go. And it literally kills you. You're just like, man, I wish I could hoop. You want to get out there. You want to test it early just because you like love to play. So imagine somebody like him who like that really is his life. Like he's dedicated his life to playing ball. And it's been taken away from him for almost 2 years.
Right.
So I think having that in the back of his mind, man, he's just going to be ready to come back and hoop. Now, addressing the athleticism potentially that he lost. Okay, I could go with that. You arguably snap one of the largest tendons in your body. Like it's going to affect your performance. And of course, he's a world-class athlete, so they're going to put as much money. He got the best doctors. He's got the best physical therapists. He has all the best everything trying to get him back. But of course, it might not ever be what it was before pre-injury. But with that said, even if he is a step slower, he's still 6'11" and got super long arms, and his release point is super high. So I think if he can just get to a spot, like people might be closer to the contest, but he's still going to be able to rise up and be over people. And then what you said about Rudy Gay had the Achilles injury. He came back, but Rudy Gay came back hecka quick. I feel like that's something that people don't realize. I think Rudy Gay came back within 9 months, and he was like back in an NBA game. So he came back super quick. Whereas KD's taken tons of time off. It's almost 2 years. But I feel like by the time the season will have kicked up and it's really gotten going by that point. So I think just him being missing from the game, being like the unstoppable scorer that he is, and I think he's going to come back and perform well, man. I think the hardest part is just kind of going to be getting that chemistry, like who takes more shots? Is it going to be him or Kyrie? And we haven't even thrown James into the mix yet. But I think KD is going to be coming out for vengeance, man. And we know how he wants to be the best player in the league. And LeBron has been getting all this praise. You know he's sitting there with his Twitter accounts on deck, like saying stuff about Bron. Like he's ready to go. So I think he's going to come out, and he's going to perform. And everything we've been hearing from everybody, Gilbert Arenas, John Wall, Jared Allen, everybody's been saying that they played with him. Isaiah Thomas, they've all been saying they played with him, and he's back and he looks good. So I think he's going to be in the MVP conversation.
All right, I'm going to say something that actually will actually support your argument. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong what I was saying, but his body type as well. It's not like he's a heavy, big dude, you know.
Yep, he's not Zion on that. He's not Zion on that Achilles.
Exactly. Yeah, if Zion blows up his Achilles, bro, I don't know. That's gonna be interesting.
It's over.
Yeah, but KD. So not that even as you're talking, I was like, you know, he's a thin dude as well. So yeah, we'll see, man. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong, but just from what I've seen from Achilles injuries with NBA players that were notable NBA players, the two to jump out at me in my lifetime are Kobe and Rudy Gay. Of course, there's the Dominique Wilkins references all the time, but I didn't see enough of that, so I can't comment on that. But I guess we'll see.
All right, man. At this point, let's segue into another topic. Some things we kind of just knocked off naturally. But let's talk about this Nets thing a little bit. Should Harden go to the Nets? Do you think it's possible for James, Kyrie, and KD to coexist on one team?
I don't think so. And I just think because of personalities, like, you know, I'm always saying, all right, got the perfect example. I never mentioned this to you, but this one's going to hit home. You remember the Dynasty, right? Dude, it's just popped my head.
I knew you were going to take it here.
Honestly, I haven't thought about that. The Dynasty, we had a few of us that thought we were untouchable. And we were all cool, close friends. We were always close friends before we played and afterwards. But on the court, nobody was big enough to take a back seat or even just to put one person on the pedestal as the go-to person because we all had ultimate confidence, right? Meanwhile, you had a front row seat of how tragic it was, and and when it didn't matter, we would go places and hoop and like no one could do nothing with us. But when it came to a actual tournament, never worked out. We never got far. So
No, we always made it to the final, or we made it to the finals multiple times, but
yes,
never could get over the hump.
correct. There always has to be one guy, and that's why I appreciate on the few media people that always give D Wade his flowers and recognize by him. Chris Bosh, when Chris Bosh, LeBron, and D Wade came together, I think Chris Bosh. Remember, people also don't realize how raw Chris Bosh was. Chris Bosh kind of
was a monster.
Seriously, like that's a whole other topic. But seemed like his mentality. Bosh seems like he was just cool with it. But really, it was like, oh man, how is D Wade and LeBron? And D Wade said, you know what? Go ahead, do you. I think you're going to have someone do that. And just looking at this team, I can see KD doing it because KD, he played with it. He came into the Warriors system, a championship team. So what was it? He came in after their 73 win season, right? He came in the season after.
Yeah, okay. The season right after.
And he figured out how to still be super efficient, still coexist with those guys. Even though there was whatever. So KD has that. He's wired that way. Harden, he played with Russ, obviously, and Russ' personality. It worked out. It worked out in the sense of they got through a season together. So I honestly think KD and Harden can work. Kyrie, man, I just don't know. Like Kyrie, from a skills perspective, I think in our lifetime, since me and you've been looking at basketball, I don't think I've seen a player at his size with his type of skill, like all in one package. But his mentality, man, like he's so. People, media trying to say he's cerebral and stuff. Whatever. I'm not even trying to say that. I just think that he's a very intelligent player. And I think that he always thinks about what the best possible play could have been or whatever. And I just don't know that that's going to work when you have KD's going to be a Hall of Famer. Harden's going to be a Hall of Famer. I don't know if that's always the right mindset you want to have for those guys. You want to just trust their decision making and not always feel that like, no, but I feel you, KD, but still you could have did it this way. I think Kyrie has that mentality. And I just don't know that that's going to work with. I don't know if Kyrie would be okay just letting those two guys be who they are without him having to have his imprint on how things should have gone. I just think he's not. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see Kyrie was coaching up Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum like that. They was looking at him all the time, looking at him sideways. He'd be like, "No, you need to be right here. You need to be right here." And Leia, like you said, he's super intelligent. Like he knows the game. I've heard people call him a savant, but how can that work with other players? Yeah, 100%.
There's a time and place for that, and with certain level players, man, you just can't do that. Actually, I'm just using an example because it comes to mind. I think about, like I said, when we were playing when we were younger, like we had our own strengths or whatever. And I remember getting frustrated with guys on our team because I felt like, not that I was some great player or whatever, but I felt like I could do what I wanted. I would get frustrated with how they carried out, how they played, or even how I was with LeBron for so long. Like, man, why doesn't LeBron just play this way? But it took me, 14 years to realize, you know what? This dude is killing it. He's beating every record. He has to play his way. You can't impose on what you think how he should use his body or whatever. So I think Kyrie suffers from that, and that's why I don't think it will work. I honestly don't think it's going to work with him and just KD. So having Serge there might help because Serge. Serge,
man, I wish they would have got Serge.
Yeah, if Serge were there, I think he would have been able to silence or just get Kyrie to chill out some. So I think if they have someone,
Kyrie, you have to let KD do his thing, bro. You need to chill.
Kyrie. Exactly. Serge don't care. So I think if there's some way to, and then. So yeah, I don't think so, man. Unless like between Steve Nash and D'Antoni can like figure out something to like, if they can create a dynamic on the team, man, and Kyrie just like
he fully buys in.
Exactly, fully buys in and just recognizes when it's his time and his moment to just be happy with that. As long as they're winning, I think it will be arguably one of the best teams ever. But I just don't know that Kyrie on his own has that, and it's not even that Kyrie is necessarily wrong. It's just kind of his execution. Sometimes it's just not needed. It's not warranted. And like I said, for a long time, I feel like I was that way with basketball until I was like, you know what, dude, it don't even matter. Like there's more than one way to get stuff accomplished. So that's my take. I'm not confident that it's going to work for that reason. And it's not.
Okay.
That's just it's just Kyrie's mindset. He's too smart of a and too talented of a player sometimes, but you just gotta let it go, man. Just let it roll through.
Okay. So here's my take on this. I've actually thought about this and spent a little bit of time on it. Not a ton, but I did a little bit of research and just was like, man, can these guys work? Can they be a winning team with those three guys on the team? And I think it actually would be good, but some changes would need to happen. So I did a little bit of research and I went back in time a little bit and went to OKC, to the Thunder, when they had KD, when they had Serge, when they had James, when they had Russ. If you look at James, the way his game was back when he was on OKC, before he got into like a full-on D'Antoni isolation system, dude, James was balling.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way that he picked his spots. Like I was looking at some old games. James is coming off pin downs, pump faking, dishing, going to the rack, banging on people, never doing like combo dribbles or anything. It was crazy. Like his assist numbers look nuts. His efficiency was nuts. James was even playing defense. I think if they put James in a role like that and like, hey, James, you got these other two dudes on your team now. You don't have to score 35. You don't have to score 40. You don't even need to get a triple double. We need you to facilitate the offense. We need you to knock down your shots when you get them. Of course, look for your shots, but get back into that mode he was in when he was on OKC, man. They would be nasty. I'm thinking you put James at the one. Kind of give him those roles. Hey, James, look for others to get them involved in the game. But when your stuff is there, get it. You put Kyrie at the two. You put like Joe Harris or somebody like at the three as like a shooter. You put KD in at the four, and then you put like DeAndre or Jared Allen at like the five, right? And I think if they ran it that way, man, I think they would be nasty. But like you said, Kyrie would need to buy in and James would need to be in that facilitator role. It can't be the same James from Houston where you just give it to him up top and you just tell him, hey, kill the shot clock, cross people, hit a three on them, and then start dancing on them or stuff. Nah, I think he needs to go back into that OKC mode and James would be disgusting. Like I literally want you, if you have like a few minutes at some point tonight, tomorrow, later on this week, go on YouTube and look at some of James's OKC highlights, man. He was a monster. It still literally blows my mind today, like how OKC let him get away for such a small dollar amount.
Yeah, that's I'll take a look, and yeah, I agree. I can't dispute anything you're saying. I think that again, like as soon as you said James run point, sounds like it sounds like it can make sense. But literally, Kyrie jumped up on my shoulder. Like Kyrie's gonna have like. Everyone knows that it can work, that knows basketball, right? And James Harden's skill set. But Kyrie, in my mind, is gonna not that he'll even do it from day one, but he's gonna have a different way that can actually maybe be an upgrade to that. Maybe if he were handling the ball, and it's not necessarily wrong. Kyrie can bring the ball up and get straight to the basket without really trying much. He could, you know what I mean? Like so, it's just gonna be on Kyrie, man. Really, if he's gonna buy into whatever system they do, that that's put there if James even gets there, because he's not technically there yet, right? They're still working on it.
Yeah, no, they're still trying to make it happen. That's another crazy thing. I got to get your take on this too. Is what do you think about? It's not confirmed, but the rumor is that Houston's owner was like, "Hey James, like we don't want to trade you. We really want to keep you," and they offered him a 2-year, $104 million extension, which would make him the highest single season paid player of all time. $52 million per year, and he said no.
Yeah, that's a lot of pennies right there. I don't know, man. I think the way these athletes at their level view and aspire for a championship, I think I can understand why a player would turn that down, especially those guys know things about the future, the plans or whatever with Houston, that any of us from outside looking in would. So if James is trying to figure out how close can I get to a championship within my next however many years he's got left, because James is what? I could look it up real quick. But James is what, maybe 29, 30 at most, 30, 31
I
at
think
most?
he might be 30.
Okay, let me see. How old is James Harden? James Harden is
31.
31. Okay, so he's 31 years old. Let's just say the next 5 years he's trying to get a championship. It would probably take 2 or 3 for Houston to even make it maybe to the Western Conference Finals without just some unforeseen stuff that we can't see happen. So I can see why him wanting to turn that down based on how the championship is held with such, it's essentially your stamp of approval when it comes to end of your career, looking back on things. Did this person win a championship or not? Right? We see how everyone clowns on, that's qualified to do so, Charles Barkley, et cetera, et cetera. So I get it. I think I understand that. At the same time, man, I've been telling you, like, I don't think that, especially the way COVID has happened, some of the decisions that players made as it relates to their decisions to play or not or whatever. I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but just from a business perspective, if a business, the money that the NBA has with their owners and their sponsors and all that stuff, if the money is more important than the decisions that the players made, that was irritant to them, right? And I honestly don't think that the way contracts are currently are going to be that way maybe in the next collective bargaining agreement deal. So I think that kind of money, you got to take that, man. You got to take that because I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
And the thing about the NBA, man, that's a guaranteed contract. So as soon as he signed that, that was a guaranteed $104 million that he was going to get over 2 years. That's crazy.
That's dude. The math.
That's more money than you could ever spend, really, ever.
Check this out.
That's like a few family lifetimes.
50 million in a year, right? So that's just over $4 million a month, just over $1 million a week. Like seriously, think about that. You break $1 million in a 7, you're making 100 some thousand a day just to lace them up. It's not always about money or whatever, but I understand why he turned it down for the championship reason. But that's guaranteed dollars, whether he plays or not. Remember Gilbert Arenas' contract and other people that was collecting a check, didn't play for 2 years. Who's that right now? Luol Deng. I saw. I think the Lakers someone owe him like $10 million. Luol Deng has been in the NBA. I don't think he's touched basketball 2 years. So
2 or 3.
Yeah, man. But again, for these guys that want to be at that level, the championship is just it's all or nothing. So I understand why he didn't do it. If I'm right about how important the championship is to him, and kind of what we've seen with other players, but
another thing too that I think about that is how much money has James Harden already made? Someone in his position is already good. He has made a ton of money. I think this last year he made 38.2, and he has an Adidas deal that I think is pretty lucrative because kids buy his shoes a lot. So I think that he's good. So when they get to a certain point, they're already feeling that they're set for the rest of their life and probably for a couple generations, the way it goes. So it's just not that important. Now, on the topic of money, though, how much do you think, I was thinking about this earlier, how much money do you think AD is going to ask from the Lakers?
Man, he's probably going to actually pay, to have the highest, he's probably going to ask for the highest contract that is possible or maybe even ever. I don't know who signed the biggest one. Was it Steph? Was it Russ? I don't remember. In the most recently, who had the biggest?
I know it was Steph, but I think somebody else passed him. Here, let me Google this really quick.
All right.
Let's see here. Yeah, it's Steph still. I thought someone else had passed him, but no, it's Steph.
It was Russ. No, James Harden. James Harden got 228 over 6 years. Russ got 207 over 5.
Oh, yeah,
Steph
you're right.
Oh, no, we're both wrong. Dame got 257 for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Hey, let's make sure I appreciate getting the numbers right. Yeah, Dame is number 1. 257, 6 years. Okay. So, yeah. So Dame Lillard got 257 over 6 years. So we're talking, I know it isn't, you're not breaking it down by 6, but we're just going to average it out. 257 divided by 6. So he's getting 42 mil on average, but obviously his last year is probably going to be closer to 50, 45, 50 probably. So I honestly think that.
Where's
check this out.
Matt? Oh yeah. Dame got the largest guarantee at 257. Yep. And
So here's what. Okay.
but I was looking at like overall, like per season.
hmm
I think Steph still has the largest per season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I think
because
you're right.
this past year he was guaranteed 40.2. For this
hmm
upcoming season, he's guaranteed 40, and I
hmm
mean 43. And then for
hmm
the 21-22, he's guaranteed 45.
Okay. So I think it's always interesting when you talk about other people's money, but this is what
Yeah,
we
I
this is
kind
what we
of.
do. So uh, to answer your question about AD, I think that AD is going to do something similar to James Harden, man, and especially because LeBron is on his team. And you got to bet on yourself. These guys wouldn't be in a position they're in if they didn't bet on themselves. But I honestly think AD is going to go the route kind of like LeBron has done, how Jordan did with these shorter, large contracts, so that they can, as they get better, like as they progress, as they project that they will, they can begin to ask more money rather than being locked in a contract. So I don't
Mhm.
think, and I don't know anything about these guys or AD or his makeup, but I just think that he's gonna, because of kind of the kind of player he is. I don't think he's gonna do a long term deal. I think he's gonna do the 2 years with a 30-year option. I think he's going to do that kind of thing rather than just doing a guaranteed 5-6 year commitment and just ride out whatever it is. I just think for the same reason why I was saying with James and walking away from 50 million and me thinking that contracts won't be the same going forward. I think AD's got to go for the big long contract, man. I think that 2 year stuff. I can see when it plays to your advantage, of course, then it's a great thing to have. But when you get injured or something changes with the CBA or whatever, you're like, man, I lost that much money. And I think that happened. I think that happened to Dwight Howard. I want to say. I think Dwight Howard. Yeah, it happened to Dwight Howard. I'm pretty sure Dwight Howard could have done a longer contract. He took a short one, but then started getting him, back and shoulder injuries and stuff, and he never got the huge contract.
When
So
we think about that, what comes to my mind is the DeMarcus Cousins situation, man.
another one. Yep.
Yeah, that one was crazy. How he was guaranteed, like his next contract was going to be like a max, like 200 million plus, and then he
Yep.
got that injury. So yeah, I think you're right, man. It might make more sense just to go ahead and collect the bag, especially if you haven't really gotten one yet, just to make sure that you're good.
Yep.
Um,
We're talking about being in your 20s and late 20s, and you're being guaranteed $250 million. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's easy for us to say we're not in that position. We don't have those kind of contracts, and we're not in their position because they're already, it gets to a point where money is not, it's not, you can't compare it. And we can't even understand. But I
yeah,
would just say, like, these guys also, they do a lot. They have, family and just different things they support and organizations, they could do a lot with that. But again, so yeah, my answer is I don't think he's going to do a long contract. I think he's going to do a short one. I think he should do it. If I were in his shoes, I think I would maybe do a long one, but I don't know.
all right, we're getting near to wrap this session up. I'm gonna bring us to something that's very, very, very interesting. It kind of has to do with two particular players. One super polarizing just because the family and like the history there, and that's LaMelo Ball. What do you think LaMelo Ball is going to be like in the league? Do you think he's going to be a star? Do you think he's going to be a little better than his brother? Do you think he's not even going to be as good as Lonzo? Like, what do you think he's going to do in the league? What's your predictions on LaMelo Ball?
All right, we just talking about this the other day. The Hornets just picked up Gordon Hayward. Is
They
that
sure did. They
okay?
paired Gordon Hayward with LaMelo.
Okay, so I think that's going to help Lamelo. I was trying to figure out what the impact would be there, but I think Gordon has kind of been in his shoes before in the sense of when he was in Utah, he was kind of a very young player, talented. Everyone was happy that he was there, and he did pretty well, and he got better every year. I think that that's going to help LaMelo to a large degree. I think LaMelo's definitely going to be better than
And Lonzo?
Lonzo. I think he's going to be better than him just because I think Lonzo gives the ball up to Lonzo plays like to me. Again, this is just him compared to other NBA players, not myself. But to me, Lonzo plays that old school college or old school high school basketball where Herbert make the quick pass because that creates another opportunity for something else to happen. I think he needs to hold on to the ball longer and see what's happening on the court. he just gets rid of the ball too quick to pass it to someone so that another play can develop. I think that's
he brings it up to like the hash mark and just kicks it
and gives it up. You can't. I don't feel in the NBA that's right now how you should play. In my opinion, so I think that since LaMelo is not built that way, he's going to do very well. His size does well for him. Having Gordon Hayward there, that's kind of lived through being, this very young player that a lot of people are going to be excited to see. And then honestly, man, just hearing some of this, like very little bit about like his interviews and stuff, like he's kind of already been in the limelight. He's already had the glitz and the glamour essentially from being recognized, and his brother, his TV show, his dad. And honestly, man, when I was just listening to how he interacted kind of with the media with his press days and stuff, like yes sir, yes ma'am, that kind of stuff. I don't know, man. I'm kind of old school in that way. Like when you seem like you learn a little bit about people that carry themselves that way. Like he has these things from monetarily speaking, but he also will say yes sir, yes ma'am, and kind of have his personality come out. I think that he'll be okay. I think that he'll be okay. I think he'll fall into a good spot. And he doesn't seem at first, like when I would look at how he was like in high school, he seemed kind of like he was feeling himself, and I'm not mad at that. He seemed kind of feeling himself too much arrogant. I don't know that he'll necessarily. I feel like he's lost some of that. Like he's matured to a large degree. So yeah, I think he's gonna do well. I honestly do. I don't think he's gonna be like a rookie of the year or nothing like that. But I don't even know who the other rookies are enough to compare him to. But I just don't know that he's gonna be like a. I think his upside is very high. I think he's going to end up being a star in NBA because I think that's important to him. I think he wants to be a great player, and I don't even think Lonzo cares about being an all-time great. I don't think that's what I'm saying. Like I think he's going to be way better than his brother. Because I honestly think that LaMelo wants to be like a great player in the NBA, and I think Lonzo's happy to be in the NBA and just wants to get better. But to me, he's not wired that way. So.
Okay, I got it. Here's what I think about the situation. I definitely think that LaMelo had the biggest upside out of all of those boys. Just being the fact that he's like a little brother, right? You playing with your big brothers the whole time ever since you're little. So just having that, he's always been playing up to better competition. So I feel like that kind of in a way groomed him to be in the league. Another thing too is their popularity that they've had for a long, long time. So, anytime he hoops, like people are going at him every single time. Oh, this dude thinks he's better than us. He thinks he's this. He thinks he's on TV. So they're going at him. So I think from that perspective, he's gotten people's best shot for a really long time. So that has kind of seasoned him for what he's going to be up against when he gets into the league. The things that I kind of have concerning him, though, like looking at that last footage that he has in Australia and the little BBB league that they had, he doesn't really seem that explosive to me.
Yeah, he
seems a little kind of slow. Yeah. So that kind of worries me a little bit. His size is good. He's tall, right? So, and he has great passing ability. So being tall like that, having that kind of vision, I think that will help him out, especially he has Hayward now, who's like a real scoring threat, so he could dime him up, and that'll make him look good. But I'm just worried about that athleticism. Let's say if he gets somebody like Drew Holiday, who got the clamps, or Kawhi, who got the clamps on him, and he can't like get by him with speed, and we know he's a real young player, and he's has experience, but I don't think he has the experience like Luka or the strength to be able to get by those tough defenders without using a ball screen every play. So he might run a whole lot of pick and roll, which will help him. But I'm worried about the athleticism. Like you see him doing those dunking highlights and stuff. This dude is 6'8", and he not really even getting over the top of the rim like that. So I'm worried about the athleticism, but and the shot too. His shot is a little weird like his brother's, but I think he's groomed for being a star, but I'm just worried about the athleticism and that jump shot.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. I think if he gets some NBA trainers or something like that to like look at his weaknesses and build up from there, I think he'll be fun to watch. You said something, and I was going to say to you, and I'm drawing a blank on LaMelo. It's playing overseas. One thing he said a lot, which I believe, and I'm not comparing apples to oranges, but just seeing how other people play in other countries, it does something, man. When you leave the United States and like play with other people that don't have like our culture of basketball or our history of it, you learn so much about other ways to play and just do things on the court. Whether that's you're the American and people are going to play you harder, refs are going to play you harder, people are going to play you differently, or being more of a team game, or just there's just different things that you get that a player in the United States, no matter how good they are, unless they're just a phenom like LeBron or whatever, aren't going to get just playing in the States. I think it's going to play to his advantage, man. Like, it's going to be interesting to see. I know you mentioned like Australia, and yeah, he wasn't over there just killing people or nothing like that. But yeah, I think that's also going to help him a lot too. So I'm interested to see. I'm actually going to watch him. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. All right, man. I think that wraps up this our first pilot episode of Get the Chip. Hope you guys like this episode. Anybody who did listen to it, we appreciate the support. And until next time, what is your team doing to get the chip?
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Be on the lookout for the next release as we drop new content multiple times a week. Or you could just subscribe so you make sure that you don't miss it.